Lots of stories to discuss here, and I got a few, and I figure which ones am I going to put out today, which ones I'll put out tomorrow. But there's tons of them to talk about. The UAP topic is heating up again with more information happening, crazy stuff going on, obviously with all the scientists and that. We have covered a little bit of that. We'll get more into it. One of the potential whistleblowers now has passed away, and Burleson has talked about how the fact that they were talking to him about testifying at a hearing. So stuff's really amping up and getting really dangerous and crazy out there in general. And people are being called out for their stuff. There's tons of stuff going on. One of those things that happened. We today, I can tell you this: we have the Age of Disclosure movie, not Age of Disclosure. That came out already. Sorry, Disclosure Day, the Steven Spielberg movie coming out. And I know that he's very much into the topic and will be doing press. So I threw my hat into the ring to try to get him on the show. Whether or not I'm going to get him or not, the answer is probably slim to none. But I gave it a shot. And inside of that, I was going through the people that I've had on this show, and Tim Gallaudet was one of them. And Tim Gallaudet, who talked about USOs and has been who testified at one of the hearings, and very he's a guy that a respected guy. People look up to and people talk about, and he's pretty revered. Well, Sean Kirkpatrick is not. Sean Kirkpatrick, inside of this community, former head of Arrow, has been looked upon as somebody who has just not been a genuine human being. A lot of people, that's at least the way that he comes across. Well, Tim Gallaudet, why do I bring him up? Well, Tim Gallaudet said it to the guy's face. That's right. I want you to play this. Props to Red Panda Koala for posting this. Check this out.
We both have decades of government service together and intelligence and whatnot, DOD. I'm going to ask you point blank and put you on the spot on something. After my 2024 UAP hearing testimony in front of Congress, you had tweeted a response about my statement regarding Arrow, where you said, I came and visited Arrow and I was bitter because I didn't get a job, and that you believe that was because you didn't hire me because I was prone to conspiracy theories, and that you checked with some of my bosses on that statement. It's well out there. You tweeted it. And ultimately, I didn't go visit Arrow when you were there. It was after you left. I was invited by Mike Waschel, the Navy Intel rep, who asked me to come there, and that's what I spoke about during my hearing. And, of course, I didn't look for a job. He invited me, and for me to actually go for a GS-14 job after having been an Undersecretary of Commerce, that was kind of preposterous, I would say. And at the same time, when you said you check with my bosses, I had my bosses formerly were 2 2-stars, 4 4-stars, and a Secretary of Commerce who I've all spoken with, and you never really check with them. So ultimately, your statement there was an outright lie. And I want to ask you what you have to say about that.
I'd say that was not an outright lie, because Mike brought you in, you sat in my office, and we had this conversation about
you weren't
taking
there.
that.
You had left. It was
I had
Tim
not
Phillips.
left. And the position you were looking for was an SES position.
I was not asking for a position. Remember, Mike brought me in. He asked me to come.
Well, then
Tim, let me just ask you, because time is going to be short. Do you want to shed any light on the issue itself?
Exactly.
Well, good point. No, ultimately, so it's really clear that you have been executing a disinformation campaign about this. This whole slide captures it. And I know you can't acknowledge it because whoever you're on the payroll with won't allow you to. And that's my statement. So,
okay, well, that's a great statement that has absolutely no bearing from reality. So,
yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, if you're looking at body language, at least for me, now look, to be fair, you don't get to see the video of Tim Gallaudet, so you don't get to see his body language. But the second he starts talking, Sean Kirkpatrick is sipping coffee and looking over to the side, and I couldn't trust this guy. I wouldn't trust him to tell me what 2 + 2 is. I have never been so there's nothing genuine about that human being at all. I mean, look, I don't know what he's covering up or what he's not covering up, but it doesn't take a genius to show that guy is a liar. I mean, he's a liar. He's been caught in 1,000 different lies. He's a liar. What he really knows about it and what he actually knows or what he doesn't, he has been told to do certain things, and you can't trust a word the guy says, because he was supposed to be the guy that is supposed to say, okay, listen, let's hear what you actually have to say. There are things that we found in our office that doesn't line up with this, but if you're saying this, like, we got to find out more information then. Like, what is it? He does seem like every single time he's trying to discredit what someone is saying and like insulting them. Not only this way that Tim Gallaudet just said about the things that he said and the way that he called him a liar or called him these different things and said that he was trying to find a job and he was prone to conspiracy theories a lot. He did the same thing to David Grush after David Grush testified, and did it on LinkedIn, for God's sakes. He's done that he's never once said, look, this particular guy might have something interesting, and I'd like to talk to him more about it. Not talking about Gallaudet, I'm just saying in general. This particular person has said things that might line up, and we have to really dive into it a little bit more. Not one time he ever said that. It was always, no, all these people are nuts. That doesn't fly. It doesn't fly. It gets more merit to me if you're like, look, a lot of what they're saying just doesn't line up, but with the conversations that we have, I can say that some of this makes sense, but maybe they saw this instead or this. He just wants to. He's doing that 1947 thing of no. They're crazy people behind the shed drinking moonshine. No. And you can smell that. It's the same thing that I brought up 1,000 times over with this guy. What he did when he wrote that cockamamie, thing about, oh, no, look, the Arrow says that it's not happening and you guys should stop talking about it now piece, where they didn't invite anybody inside of the press that actually covers this on the side of like Jeremy Corbell or George Knapp or anybody too. They just brought in people that they wanted to write the pieces, people who didn't give a shit about the UFO topic, and said, hey, we have looked and said, we found absolutely nothing. Please print that. And now everybody will listen and put it in the major publications. And now we can move on. That was the hope of what he was hoping to do. And it clearly did not work. He just seems to me the type of guy that eventually, let's say that it all comes out, that all this stuff is out there, that there's technology out there and there's things that we have recovered and we're not alone and all that stuff. He'd be like, that's what they told me to say. They were threatening me. They told me to say that. He is going to be that guy. Oh, hey, listen, I wanted to tell you. I just couldn't. They made me say that. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that I made everybody, feel that way, and I was shitting on everybody left and right. It was my job. I'm sorry. That's who he is. You can tell. Even the way that he reacted to that. It should be like this was a decorated admiral who you say, look, sir, I'm sorry if you're offended about what I said there. But the fact of the matter is, I believe that when you were there were certain things that were said that didn't make you fit. So I just would have liked to heard more about your topic and more about the things that were actually there to see why it could line up and not line up to the stuff that we actually found. He doesn't say it that way. He says, oh, look at you. You were unfit. You're a nutball, basically, is the way that he is defending himself. He's defending himself like a bully that's been challenged on the schoolyard. It's just clear if you body language too. There was a way that he could have handled that right away that would have said, oh, wait a minute, maybe Sean Kirkpatrick is legit. If Sean Kirkpatrick again would say, address the man by his former title and said, listen, I have heard your reports. I find them fascinating. We have not found anything of that. I would have loved to have talked to you about this more. I was there. And there was actually this time that we were there. If you remember correctly, when I was there, we did this, we did that. We talked for a little bit and really have the conversation as opposed to, oh no, you're nuts. I was there. We were in my office, guy. This is gross. He's the worst. I call him Whistleton from Frozen. I was hoping in this story, it was like, oh, look, he's defended himself and he actually had some things to say here that could combat this. and say, well, wait a minute, hold on a second. I did say that, and here's the reason why. This was terrible. He's terrible. I don't know. How do you guys feel about this? Do you think that this is BS? Do you believe Gallaudet? Do you believe Kirkpatrick? Where do you stand on it? As I said, there's going to be more stuff to talk about this week. There's tons of information. There's tons of things that are going on. I was going to try to post at least one video a week, if not two, per day. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you. We'll see you guys on the flip side. Make sure you click like, comment, and subscribe. Really appreciate everything that you guys have done for the channel thus far. Let's keep moving. All right.